My name is Steve, the Affordable Life Coach. Today we're going to talk about keeping things really simple, especially when it comes to our communication with other people. It's such a simple principle, and as human beings, because of fear, because worried about hurting other people's feelings, saying something they might not like, or worse yet, we're being emotionally manipulated or controlled by people who can be extremely defensive. One of the things when I'm coaching people and they're dating someone who's very defensive, or they have a family member that's very defensive, that is a problem, because what those type of, and maybe you're defensive, and I have some clients that are extremely defensive, and they're the most challenging people to coach. And when you're defensive, what you're saying is you're trying to control the other person's speech. You're trying to, because of your insecurities and fears, you're using emotional manipulation in order to play defense. Hey, don't you dare say anything to me that is constructive feedback, constructive criticism, or something that is a critique or anything negative about me, because I am going to punch back. Not going to handle it well. I'm going to use guilt, shame, and making you feel bad, like you did something wrong. You insulted me. You were disrespectful. And that is a form of control. And be very wary with you. You are in a relationship like that. And even if it's a friend, family member, coworker, bosses, when you're dealing with that type of person, what they are saying is, I don't care about how my actions make you feel. I am not going to listen. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to evolve. I'm going to blame you as being the culprit for disrupting or activating my emotional insecurities, my fear, and my ego damage that you've done to me. And some people can be very histrionic about it. Some people can be very dramatic about it. They can even make a scene about it. But usually it can be oftentimes just very subtle. And they might start crying. They might start moping. They might start hanging their head low. They might start shutting you out and icing you by not talking to you, or maybe not returning your calls or messages. And when we give in to that behavior, it's like a child throwing a tantrum. We are rewarding bad behavior and expect more of it. And it might seem like the short-term, easiest strategy to implement is, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. You're not those things. You're a wonderful, perfect person, and I'm to blame for saying anything that was even remotely critical or constructive, or just honest in sharing my feelings about how your actions affect our relationships or how it affects me. And I will shut down and censor myself from having authentic, open, honest communication. And we play this game with people where we're just phony. We're just not honest about who we are, what we want to say, and how we feel. And I realize there are some constraints. You can't go telling the boss that he or she is a jerk. You can't just be going around and criticizing and blurting out whatever you want, whatever impulsive thought comes to your mind. I'm talking about more personal, intimate relationships, friendships. And it's amazing how often this comes up in coaching sessions, where clients have the relationship maybe it started off well, but they suppress something because, like, oh, I can't say this to this person because they'll get upset. And it just gradually escalates and escalates and escalates, and they suppress and they suppress and they suppress. And you don't realize the long-term damage that is being created within that relationship and that dynamic. It's very toxic and it's very devastating, because you're building resentment, you're stuffing your emotions, and they're continuing the same type of behavior because they've created this aura that they are not, no one can say anything negative or bad about them, and they rarely, if ever, apologize. They don't take accountability. People that are blame other people. They're just not healthy people to be around. There is hope for those type of people, and I have had those type of people in my life, and you gradually ease them in to the pool of honesty and authenticity. You start them off with the shallow end with kind of like gentle, easier type of stuff, and then you work your way up. But the fundamental thing is having a conversation with them by setting the terms of the friendship or relationship. And then they know what to expect. You tell them, this is the type of person I am. This is the type of communication I like in my relationships that I want. And if we are to grow, it'll help us to grow closer. And if we're going to grow closer, we have to have this type of communication. We can't stuff our feelings, emotions, and thoughts and what we want to say. And airing them out will make us much, much stronger. And I'm very honest with my clients. And sometimes it ruffles their feathers, and sometimes clients get really upset with me because I'm telling them things that they don't want to look at within themselves, that most likely most people have not told them because they know they'll pay the price if they were to tell them the truth. And sometimes it can create a lot of friction. Sometimes I even lose clients because I'm honest with them. But to me, it's an act of love. It's an act of caring to be honest with someone. And I've had clients that have absolutely appreciated, wow, no one's ever told me that. Maybe that's why I'm not having healthy, stable relationships. Or maybe that's why people are avoiding me. Or maybe that's why I'm not getting job promotions, or the boss doesn't like me. And we have such blind spots as human beings. If we're not in a constant process of fine-tuning our faults and correcting our ways and becoming better versions of ourselves, becoming better people, we are going to stagnate, and we are significantly increasing the odds we're going to be much more discontent, unfulfilled, and just unhappy with our lives. Human beings need feedback. One of the things when I start off with a new client, I tell them, please tell me anything that you want me to change. Give me constructive criticism. Give me feedback. And many clients have, some don't, but many clients have given me feedback, and it makes me a better coach. Or sometimes it's like, hey, you know what? That's just who I am. We might not be a good fit in the coaching relationship, so on and so forth. But feedback, while it can be painful to hear, it becomes a part of you that strengthens and solidifies you and gives you confidence when you're open to feedback and you have an open mind. And that's a whole nother topic, but so many people just have their one way of thinking and nothing can pull them out of it. But if you're just open mind, receptive, curious, and striving to have real communications with people, that's why I find small talk so excruciating and taxing for me. The people that, oh, how are you doing? Or I know people are trying to be polite, or just it's because it's all artifice. It's just nonsense, BS that we're just spewing out in order to project an image. Nobody really ever says, oh yeah, I had I had a big fight with my partner, or I got fired from my job. I mean, people don't say that. So it's just, we have to put on an act. We have to wear a mask. In doing so, it's very draining because you're acting. You're not being yourself. So when people push back and you're telling them the truth, and I get this in my coaching sessions, I get this in my personal life, less so when, because now people know to expect that I'm going to be direct and I'm going to be honest with them. So I get less pushback, and once people expect that of you, it's you're not going to get the same type of, oh, you hurt me, or you're so rude, or you're so impolite, because they know it's not going to work for you, with you. You're not going to be manipulated by their shenanigans and by their dramatics and overreacting behavior to the truth. And that's the thing, just keep it simple. Like, just tell people the truth. Just be honest. There's just a confidence and a courage and a boldness and like an empowerment and liberation. We're not carrying around all this heavy weight of insincerity and dishonesty by omission because we're not communicating with people. Even if you go out on a date, I coach clients who are going out on dates and stuff like that. I'm like, be honest with the person. Don't just ghost them. Be honest. Hey, you know what? And I think I've shared this in previous videos, but like, tell them. And I've told this to people. You've talked about yourself 90% of the time, and you've only asked me, one or two questions, and then you quickly switch it back onto yourself. And are you really interested in getting to know me? It's amazing how shocked people get when they're told the truth, because it's so rare. But then you distinguish yourself out from the 95, if not more, percent of people who are just too cowardly to speak the truth. And when it comes to romantic or intimate relationships, we have to be telling our partners the truth. And we have to condition them to expect to hear the truth, so they're not shocked when you finally do say the truth. It's like an ongoing pressure cooker release valve. Here's the truth. Here's some more truth. And so you avoid the explosion because the pressure has no outlet. And it's done in a very constructive way. It's not you're criticizing and telling them they're terrible people. You're saying, hey, this is how your behavior makes me feel. And I'm telling you this because I want to be closer to you. I want to strengthen our bond. I want to strengthen our relationship. And when I tell you the truth, it alleviates what I'm suppressing that causes me to keep some distance with you, causes me not to return your calls, causes me not to want to spend time to you, causes me to want to avoid you, things like that. And when you're honest with them, you can resolve the issue. And you say, what can we do? What are some options we can do to deal with this? Because people need a cold bucket of ice water dumped over their heads. We all need that. Not literally, but metaphorically, we need it. We just need a wake-up call because we get stuck in mental, psychological, and spiritual behavioral patterns that are toxic, that affect other people, and they have to carry our emotional negativity. And it's just not healthy. And when we are letting them know how it makes us feel, they can course correct, because I'm sure other people aren't telling them the truth, and everybody feels better. And if you're not in a relationship, if you say, oh, I can't do that in my relationship, why not? And is that a type of a relationship that you want to be in? If you've been with the person a long time, it doesn't mean because that was the past pattern that you can't course correct and do something different and set up new parameters in your communication style. When I coach couples, one of the things I recommend is have, every other week, have a state of the union. What is the state of our marriage or our relationship? What's going right? Where are we getting off track? And we all have things that we're doing that we can improve upon. We're doing wrong, and the mistakes that we're making. And when you communicate about it, and sometimes, they might say, this is who I am. You either accept me or bye-bye, or you just need to deal with it. I'm not changing. And then you go, okay, at least I spoke the truth, and now I can make the decision if I want to stay in the relationship, or I can make a decision how I'm going to react in the relationship. I'm not going to let that bother me, because right now that's all I can control. If the person's unwilling to change that particular behavior, it's all you can do is just focus on your reaction. And it's like a cleansing, man. It's cleaning house. And we even need to do that with ourselves, because we are not, it's very rare that a person at the end of the day does a self-assessment of what went right and where did I get off track? What improvements could I make in my day? Where did I lose focus? Where did I waste time? Where did I take the easy way out instead of having an uncomfortable conversation? If there's no feedback mechanism in place, then we're just going to stagnate. And that's why coaching is so effective, because, and especially with the way I coach people, is it's honesty, it's directness, it's the truth. Let's focus on the truth. And so many times when I'm coaching someone, they try to push back with stories or just BS or self-deceptions, and in a gentle way helping them realize that it's like a light goes on, and they go, oh, okay, you know what? I've been believing my own crap. I believe in my own lies and my own stories. And there's a great book on this topic. It's called The Truth About Dishonesty: How We Lie to Others, but Especially Ourselves. And that would solve so many issues culturally and in our society if we just communicated openly and in a way that's engaging, not attacking, judging, trying to browbeat another person down, but in a way, even though we have a difference of opinion, even though you might not like what I have to say, I'm going to say it anyways to further and deepen the connection and open up the channel of communication. And that's what we want. The moment someone, and if you do this, just put a rubber band on your wrist and snap it every time you catch yourself being defensive. It's incredible how instinctual it is. Sometimes I'll catch myself, I'm like, boy, my immediate reaction was to defend myself. And what that's saying is, oh, your opinion of me is so important that I need to defend myself in order to try to get you to change how you see me. If I feel good about myself and I feel confident about myself, why do I care what someone thinks about me? I mean, if it's someone close to us, intimate to us, yeah, we want to try to further the dialogue, but I'm not going to try to force them to or browbeat them to believe something that is not their experience. And let people have those different opinions. And just, there's something very beautiful when you meet these types of people. You give them constructive feedback, and they respond with curiosity. Oh, you just gave them like some harsh constructive criticism, and they go, "That's interesting. Tell me why you feel that way." Oh, I didn't realize that. Maybe I do that. What were some examples? What would you like me to do instead of that? It's just so refreshing to be that type of person. And one of the things that is very helpful is just pause before replying. And maybe you set that up in your relationship. Hey, I want us to start wading into the deep end of honesty and truth and authenticity. So please just pause. If I give you constructive feedback or you tell me something that's bothering you, let's just take a 3-second pause before we respond. And let's start our first response with a question versus, no, I don't do that. How could you say that? That's so hurtful. I can't believe it. You're so rude and inconsiderate. Do you know how much pain and how much you hurt my feelings? Everybody's feelings are so fragile. Do you want to be made of glass, walk around in this world made of glass and so breakable based on what other people tell you? The fact that you need to control language and control what other people say to you shows how fragile we become, and our inner peace or strength is now dependent on what other people say or don't say to us. That is weakness at its deepest core, and that's not healthy. And it's disempowering, and you're giving away your sense of well-being to other people. It's like other people, you're like a puppet. Other people are just pulling the strings based on what they say or don't say. Let's not be so sensitive. Let's be strong, and let's build a solid foundation that we rest our lives and our personality and our self-worth and our values upon. It's like a tree with deep roots. When the winds come, the storms come, the animals come, the roots are so deep, it's not knocked down. And most of us have such shallow roots, and the way you can see it is how defensive and how people respond to what you say. And if they try to flip it around and blame you and guilt and shame you, man, it's not healthy, it's not stable, and eventually that tree's gonna topple. So this is if you like these type of topics, if you want to explore this within yourself, unlike probably anything that you've done before, it really is eye-opening to get to see what's beneath the surface, behind the blind spots behind the curtain of ourselves. And so coaching is such an effective way to do that. If you're interested, again, my email is in the description. Consultation is absolutely free, and it's such a fun journey. And especially if you have an open mind and you want to focus on truthful, authentic conversations. All right, if you want to like and to subscribe, again, that's always appreciated. If you want to really help out and support the channel and the work that I do here, there's a PayPal link in the description. Even if it's $1 a month or something small, it is greatly appreciated. And I thank you. This is a small channel, and I thank all your support and encouragement. And until next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.